Pain is everywhere. People lose loved ones. People get sick. People suffer without warning, without reason. And sooner or later, a difficult question appears. If God is real, why is there so much suffering? For centuries, people have tried to answer this. Let's look closely at the most common explanations. Argument 1: Free will. The most popular answer is free will. It says God gave humans freedom. Freedom allows love, choices, creativity. But freedom also allows cruelty and harm. Without freedom, humans would be like robots. Sounds reasonable until we look carefully. Free will can only explain suffering caused by humans. But what about everything else? Earthquakes, diseases, accidents, natural disasters? No human chooses these. So free will explains only a part of suffering, and there is a deeper problem. If God is all knowing, then every harmful choice was known before creation. Why create a world where terrible actions were certain? Freedom does not remove the contradiction. Argument 2: Suffering builds character. Another common claim is pain helps us grow, struggles make us stronger, suffering builds wisdom and compassion. This idea sounds comforting and poetic, but reality tells a harsher story. Suffering does not always create strength, often, it creates trauma and damage. Many people are not improved by pain, they are crushed by it. So we must ask, why would growth require extreme suffering? Could learning not happen through joy or difficulty? Why design a system where progress demands tragedy? Argument 3: Greater plan. Another very popular explanation: there is a greater plan. What seems painful now may serve a higher purpose. At first, this feels deep, but think carefully. If every terrible event is part of a plan, then no suffering can ever be questioned. Any tragedy, no matter how cruel, can be called necessary. This idea explains everything, and the explanation that explains everything actually explains nothing clearly. And another question arises: why would a loving God depend on suffering to achieve good outcomes? Why would pain be required at all? Argument 4: Divine mystery. When logic becomes uncomfortable, a final shield often appears. Humans cannot understand God's plan. God's wisdom is beyond our minds. But notice what happens here. The question is not answered, it is simply closed. Mystery may silence doubt, but it does not solve the problem. If something cannot be examined or questioned, can it truly be called an explanation? Argument 5: Afterlife compensation. Another deeply held belief says this life is temporary, suffering is temporary, justice and happiness come later. This idea offers emotional relief, but logically tension remains. Does future happiness justify present suffering? If pain will be compensated later, why create it in the first place? Why design suffering that needs repair? When we step back and observe these answers, a clear pattern appears. Each explanation tries to protect belief by adjusting logic around suffering, but none fully remove the core problem. They soften the discomfort, they do not resolve the contradiction. Free will explains only human choices, not natural pain. Pain builds character sounds wise until suffering destroys lives instead. Greater plan explain everything, which means it explains nothing in a testable way, and divine mystery ends the discussion without answering anything. These arguments do not truly solve suffering, they mostly make suffering easier to accept, and believing an explanation does not automatically make it reasonable. The question remains open, unsettled, and deeply uncomfortable. Exactly because suffering is real. I would really like to know your view. Which explanation makes sense to you? Which one feels weak or unconvincing? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy exploring difficult questions like this, consider subscribing to the channel because some questions are too important to ignore. Thanks for watching.